Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3Tier, here to bring you another end of the year top 10 list video to share for you guys today. Now that my two videos of the top 10 best and worst movies of 2016's videos are now up, it is now time for us to look forward to the future as we will be going over my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2017. Starting off with number 10 on my list is a movie that I'm about 100% positive not a single person will be seeing next year, probably because they don't know it exists, and that is YuGiOh, The Dark Side of Dimensions. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this film because chances are none of you know what this is, none of you are interested in this movie, and probably have no interest in seeing it. But heck, YuGiOh was always a big part of my time growing up, going all the way from middle school, even going all the way into some years in college. And I think seeing another YuGiOh movie, especially going over the first generation, gives me a lot of nostalgic value to me. And that's why it's number 10 on this list. Going on into number 9 is another movie that has some nostalgic value for me, and that is Power Rangers. Now look, I watched Power Rangers all the way from Mighty Morphin all the way to, I say, SPD. And seeing them decide to reboot the franchise doesn't really surprise me all that much. I mean, they did it with Transformers, and they did it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and so Power Rangers was just kind of next on the list. Now, I'm really curious to see what changes they add to this franchise, or this new retelling of the Power Rangers story. And as long as they keep the same spirit the same, they might keep the formula, which, you know, is pretty predictable at this point if you've seen Power Rangers long enough. But hopefully, I just really want to see this new take on the Power Rangers storytelling saga. So if they can give me an entertaining film that stays pretty true to the spirit of Power Rangers, then I think it could be a pretty enjoyable film to watch in theaters. Going on with number 8 on my list is John Wick Chapter 2. Now, Keanu Reeves really, for the most part, had a pretty rocky career after The Matrix. And I could say that John Wick was a real revitalization of his career, in my opinion. And I thought that John Wick was really a big sleeper hit. I mean, it was a very simple concept, pretty straightforward, and it was a pretty damn good filmed action film. So going into a sequel has me a little bit concerned because, you know, some sequels don't always play out well, especially if you compare it to something like, Taken 2, which, wasn't really all that great. But hopefully, if they can keep the same style the same, if they can keep the same action the same, and they can give us a somewhat much more interesting plot with maybe some more twists and turns, then I think John Wick Chapter 2 could be a really entertaining film to see in theaters, which is why it's number 8 on my list. Going on into number 7, I picked Spiderman Homecoming. Now, Spider-Man on his own is my favorite solo Marvel superhero. And he's been on his set of reboots. Now we're on his third. And now that we have this new Spider-Man taking part in the official Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think it's going to be interesting to see what more we can learn about this Spider-Man. I think he had a great entry, even though he didn't have a lot of screen time in Captain America Civil War, so I really want to see that expanded upon. I want to know what changes they can add to the character, how much they're going to stay true to the source material. Really curious to see Michael Keaton's performance as Vulture, which is odd because he's probably one of the better Batmans we've had to date. And so all I ask is that they stay true to the heart of what makes Spider-Man such a unique and standalone superhero apart from the Avengers. I mean, I know that they're going to spend most of this time for him wanting to prove that he can be with the Avengers, but I really want to see what he's like on his own. And if they can give me an entertaining film and a good interpretation of Spider-Man, then that's really all I want. And that's why it's number 6 or 7 on my list. Going on into number 6, I picked Logan. Now, this is going to be a really, really big movie for Fox's Marvel division because this is going to be, as far as we know, the last time we'll be seeing Hugh Jackman play the iconic character of Wolverine, which he's been it all the way since 1999, so yeah, that's kind of crazy. So to see Hugh Jackman kind of go out in this final portrayal of Wolverine is going to be something quite emotional. So I really want to see how they handle the old man Logan story because I know they're going to have to change a number of things because there are a number of key characters that aren't going to be part of this world. But just to kind of see how this part of the Wolverine story ends, I think is probably going to be one of the most anticipated moments, at least coming into the set of movies coming out next year. Because we've just been stuck with this interpretation of the character for so long, it's going to be really, really emotional to say goodbye to him one final time. And that's why it's number 6 on this list. Going on to number 5, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, or Volume 2, I should say. And I don't really have much to say about it. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, when it first came out, was a real big surprise to me because the Guardians of the Galaxy was really not a series of characters I was really quite familiar with. And I think the movie did an incredible job at really introducing these characters and making it a pretty damn entertaining and, dare I say, surprisingly how should I say this? It got me into these characters, which I think if any movie can do that with comic book characters, I think that's pretty impressive. And I've already seen the trailer going into the second one, and it looks just as funny and entertaining as it's always been, and hopefully if they can continue that, then heck, I think we're going to have a pretty good time when the second installment comes out. So that's why it's number 5 on my list. Going on to number 4, I picked the Lego Batman movie. Now, the Lego movie was great. I think it was one of the best movies I saw that year, but without doubt, the best character of that film was Batman. And so the fact that they wanted to make a Batman Lego movie doesn't really surprise me all that much. I'm very much pumped up to see it. I think just from the trailers, it's going to be entertaining, and I think it's going to show us a different side of Batman that we're not used to seeing. The more I want to be surrounded by a family type Batman instead of the, I'm kind of dark and depressing Batman as we're used to. And I think, without question, it's probably going to be the best interpretation of Batman that we've seen in some time. Not counting Christian Bale's Batman, because I thought he was pretty good for the most part in at least 2 of the 3 films. But yeah, moving forward, if they can get this right, who knows what other characters we can get with Lego movies. Maybe we get a Superman Lego movie or a Wonder Woman Superman Lego movie. Who knows? But heck, this is going to be the first block to a new set of Lego movies, so let's see, it works out pretty well. Going on to number 3 is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Now, Kingsman: The Secret Service was, without question, one of the biggest surprising spy movies that I saw that year. I think it was ranked, if I remember correctly, either number 1 or number 2 of that year. That movie was very, very impressive. And the fact that it was R-rated even made it more impressive. The action, especially with the church scene, was unlike any action scene I had seen up to that point. I think the characters were very well developed. And the fact that this came from I believe, a comic book series. I may be wrong on that. So seeing it go into a sequel has me a little bit of concern. I think this is one of those series where I don't think they were intending for it to be as successful as it ended up being, but now that it has, I think it has a lot of weight on its shoulders in order for it to not disappoint, because that's something that a lot of, I think, surprise hits do. But hopefully, I know that they've kept a lot of the cast the same. I know that it's going to be taking place in America, so I think that's a major plus. So we're going to see a new side of the whole Kingsman service. And I think that if they keep everything the same and throw a couple of new twists at this, then I think that Kingsman: The Golden Circle will be a pretty damn entertaining movie, and maybe even a contender for a movie of the year. But heck, that brings me to number 2 on this list, and that is War of the Planet of the Apes. All I can say is it kind of follows the cliche of set of trilogy type films. I mean, you have the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, then you have the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and now you have the War of the Planet of the Apes. So hopefully, since the last 2 movies were great installments, they were great films for their time, I hope that this movie closes off this series in a very positive way. I'm still not sure who to root for. I mean, I guess if you follow the story, you want to root for the apes, but not all humans are assholes, but I think from the trailer that's kind of what they're projecting it to be. So hopefully Caesar will come out of this final battle as the unsung hero again, and hopefully the Academy Awards or the Oscars or someone will finally recognize Andy Serkis as a real performer, because I think this technology that they're using, it's only enhanced by his performance. I really think that they need to take motion capture performances seriously, because trust me, his performance as Caesar, at least in the past 2 films, has been Oscar-worthy, at least for me. So hopefully this will be the movie that will finally get people on board and accept this new type of acting as an official type of acting that should be recognized and should be praised. And that's why it is number 2 on this list. And that goes into number 1. And my most anticipated movie of 2017 has to be Dunkirk. All I'm going to say about it is this, with 3 simple facts. It is directed by Christopher Nolan, my favorite director of all time. It is a World War II movie that takes place in Dunkirk. And I'm a huge history buff. That's it. Christopher Nolan is directing a World War II movie. I'm on board. He has never let me down before. Even before he started doing the Batman movies, he had never let me down. And so I know, coming from him, he's going to give me a quality film, especially when it comes to World War II. And that is why it is number 1 on my list of most anticipated movies. And with that done, I'd like to know, what are your top 10 most anticipated movies of 2017? Share your list with me and everybody else in the comments down below. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check me on my future videos. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.